Welcome to Coruzant Technologies, home of the Digital Executive Podcast. Welcome to the Digital Executive. Today's guest is Dr. Jane Thomason. Dr. Jane is a successful entrepreneur, having founded and built a $250 million revenue consulting company. She is a thought leader in technological innovation, fintech, and blockchain for social impact. Recognized in Forbes magazine in 2018 as a leader in blockchain for social impact, Dr. Jane authored the book Blockchain Technologies for Global Social Change. Dr. Jane is a co-founder of the British Blockchain and Frontier Technology Association and Section Chief Editor Blockchain for Good for the journal Frontiers in Blockchain. In 2019 and 2020, she convened London FinTech Week, London Blockchain Week, and London Digital Impact Week. She is a regular blockchain hackathon judge and mentors social impact startups. Well, good afternoon, Dr. Jane. Welcome to the show.
Good afternoon. Great to be on the show.
Awesome. I appreciate you jumping on, Dr. Jane. And what's really cool is I love international podcasts, and you are hailing from the great country of Australia. So I'm totally fired up for this one. Dr. Jane, let's jump into the questions here. You've got quite the career in technology, fintech, you're an entrepreneur, and currently a renowned blockchain author and speaker. Could you share with our audience the secret to your career growth and what inspires you?
I would absolutely love to. If I say to people, find your passion and make your passion your work. And I've been lucky enough to be able to do that. And I was inspired early in my life by being taken on a trip to Indonesia by my mother, where I met an Australian who'd been working with poor people in central Java for 14 years and helping them build their economy and opportunity. And I was really inspired by that, to work in emerging economies and to work with the sort of poorest and most disadvantaged people in the world. So that was my passion. And I was lucky enough to be able to create a career around that. I started my own company. We worked all around the world. And then in 2016, I suddenly discovered blockchain and technology and had a realization that this really can transform the world and transform the lives of the bottom billion. And I needed to follow that passion. So find your passion and follow it.
That's awesome. I love that story. You're kind of killing two birds with one stone, using the emerging technology, yet you're helping, like you said, the bottom billion. So I appreciate that. And so, Dr. Jane, as you know, everybody globally has had to make major shifts to adapt to the new normal during this pandemic. Could you share with us what you're doing to help your organization stay relevant in this economy?
Absolutely, because my life before COVID was literally traveling around the world, speaking, going and looking at projects, understanding what was going on in blockchain and emerging technologies to be a leader in the field. And so what it's meant is that I've had to become virtual and work virtually. So initially in the pandemic, I did a lot of work trying to keep at the forefront of the pandemic and how blockchain and new technologies have been pivoting and accelerating to be able to deal with the pandemic, and just really became adept at working across time zones, finding out what was going on and writing about it. And then the other thing, because I had time when I wasn't traveling, is that I wrote a book called Blockchanging the World.
Changing the world. I think that's amazing. I love your story. Love how you've adapted, especially during these challenging times with the pandemic. So thank you. Dr. Jane, as you know, this is our technology platform, this podcast, and I know you're a blockchain expert, but can you go into some of the emerging use cases for blockchain for our audience?
Absolutely. So I want to segment blockchain, separating the cryptocurrencies from the other blockchain applications. But I want to just start on the crypto because I think we've seen some interesting things during the pandemic because digital currencies and digital assets have absolutely exploded. So the fact that people haven't been able to go to traditional fund transfer agents has meant they've started using blockchain, digital currencies and mobile money in order to be able to transact. But also at the smallest level with micro level village entrepreneurs in the Philippines who do things like buy Netflix and Spotify cards and sell them in their village, they couldn't get access to foreign exchange. And so they started using Bitcoin as foreign exchange to be able to buy their Netflix and Spotify cards and keep trading them in the villages. So we're seeing all sorts of kind of surprising innovations happening on the crypto side. But on the other side of it, again, if you think about the pandemic, the first thing is people have been using blockchain for secure data exchange because the whole world had to be able to share what was going on with the pandemic in real time in a trusted way. Secondly, as you know, we had a lot of trouble with personal protective equipment in the early days, and there was also a lot of fake equipment going around. And so people started using blockchain for the provenance in the supply chains and to keep the integrity of the supply chains during COVID. So we've seen some real innovation during COVID, particularly in health and in digital transfers. But the other aspect that I just wanted to raise with you, because I think it's really important, is humanitarian agencies have been using and increasingly using blockchain and other frontier technologies to help in those kinds of settings. Because often people who are refugees, who fled their homes, who are in camps, they don't have identity, they don't have access to their bank records, to their educational attainment, to ownership of property. So they're using biometrics to create digital identity, hash it up onto a blockchain as a way to be able to sort of identify who people are in camps and enable them to get access to benefits, whether it's supplies of food or education and so forth. So we're seeing a lot of very, very solid use cases before the pandemic, but there's been acceleration during the pandemic, and that's very encouraging.
I think that's totally awesome how we've needed to help these industries and people that are underserved in some of these areas, especially as you mentioned with humanitarian. I think that's amazing. And of course, there is some silver lining to the pandemic is that it really did accelerate some of this technology. So thanks again for sharing that. Dr. Jane, last question here. Our audience wants to know a little bit more about Dr. Jane. Can you share something from your career experience that would be helpful for those looking to grow their career in technology or fintech?
Absolutely. And I think the first thing is just don't be afraid to make a change and be curious. Find out about it. You don't need to do a university degree to learn about technology. There's so much that's available on the internet. There's so many YouTube courses and lectures that you can start to educate yourself about technology really easily from your home. Secondly, is start engaging on LinkedIn or Twitter, join some LinkedIn groups, join some meetups. So start to get to know people who are working in technology or fintech because you're finding your tribe basically. And then finally, don't think you need to be a mathematician, a cryptologist, or a developer to work in technology or fintech. It requires a whole lot of people in a team to make a successful blockchain or fintech company. So they need strategists, they need business people, they need designers. It needs a whole team to be able to make a successful company. So I think is have the confidence, put yourself out there, start meeting people who have the interests that you're interested in, and they're going to find you because I've found the blockchain community is one of the most supportive, collaborative, open communities that I've ever been involved in. And before 2017, I never had anything to do with technology ever. So I've gone from 2016 to reading about it and to 2017 to now to being seen as something of a thought leader in this area. But that's because it's blue sky out there. This is so new and developing so fast that if you turn your attention to it and you keep on learning and you're continuously curious, you're going to know more than the next person.
Absolutely. And that is an amazing story. I appreciate you sharing that with our audience. We have a large audience. They want to learn about this emerging technology. And having you on as a guest just really emphasizes that. So thanks again. And Dr. Jane, it was a pleasure having you on today. And I look forward to speaking with you real soon.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Bye for now.